Hola a todo el mundo y bienvenido a mi canal. Yo me llamo Sirey. Soy una abogada afro-latina licenciada practicando en la ley criminal, pero como todos ustedes, a mí me fascina cuando estamos hablando de casos de crímenes reales. En este video vamos a continuar de hablar de Kouri Richins. Si quieren más video en español, nada más dime allá abajo. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Desiree. I'm a licensed and practicing Afro-Latina criminal attorney who, much like the rest of you, has a severe fascination with true crime cases. Listen, you guys, I know it's been a few videos since we've talked about Kouri, and I know that Kouri has already been convicted. But my promise to you is my promise to you. My word is my bond. No matter how busy I am, if I tell you I'm going to do something, I try my hardest to get it done. So let's continue with our coverage in the Kouri Richins trial and testimony. So in this video specifically, we're going to talk about my opinions on the testimony of Kouri's former lover, Robert Joshua Grossman. So before we get into the testimony exactly, let's talk about what happened before the testimony that I thought was kind of interesting, at least interesting enough to note to you guys. As Robert entered the courtroom, the court clerk administered the same oath that it administers to all witnesses testifying in any sort of hearing at all. And the exact wording of that oath varies by jurisdiction, courtroom, what have you. Like everyone administers it differently. But the point of it is to capture, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? And that is just an oath that is administered to people who are testifying in any sort of proceeding to make sure that they know that they're required to tell the truth, right? There's a penalty of perjury that follows should you decide not to tell the truth. But this is administered to everyone who testifies. Let me show you what happened when it was administered to Robert.
If you please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the matter before the court to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, subject to the pains and penalties of perjury?
Sir, do you swear to tell the whole truth under the pains and penalties of perjury, yes or no?
Now, to be fair to Robert, what the court said here was, do you swear to tell the truth, something, 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 under the pains and penalties of perjury? And I think the wording of that is rather confusing. Like, I was listening to that, like, girl, what? So I get it. I get why he was confused, but it's meant to convey the same message. After his initial confusion, the court decided to escort all the jurors out of the courtroom so it could have a one-on-one conversation with Mr. Grossman.
Stand right there for a moment, if you don't mind. Can I invite you folks to take a walk for a moment? Please rise for the jury. Just pause for a moment. Have a seat, if you don't mind. Mr. Grossman, do you understand the difference between what's true and what's not true?
I do.
Do you promise, under the pains and penalties of perjury, to tell the truth when you're asked questions?
Absolutely.
Anything further, Mr. Bloodworth?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Lewis?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Could you bring the jury back in?
After the jury was excused, the court decided to ask Robert two very distinct questions, which capture the essence of the oath. Those questions were, do you understand the difference of what's true and what's not true? Do you promise, under the pains and penalties of perjury, to tell the truth when you are asked questions? I think being able to break it down just a little bit further for Robert got him to understand what the court was trying to capture. Unequivocally and quickly, he responded yes to both of those court questions, and the jury was brought right back in. Before we get into what he testified to exactly, let me just talk to you a little bit more about the technique that I felt like was used during direct versus the technique that I felt like was used during cross. More specifically, let's just criticize the attorneys just a little bit, right? I think that the prosecution here was really good. I saw some comments in some of the live streams that I was watching that criticized the prosecution and the defense. I think when you do anything in the public eye at all, there will always be criticism, but just my informed opinion, I think they did fine. The questioning was good. I felt like they were asking questions that were easy to understand. 9 times out of 10, if I'm ever questioning a witness on a stand and I ask a question that they don't seem to quite understand, I always take the fault for it. My response will always be something to the effect of, I apologize, you're right. That is a horribly worded question. Let me rephrase. I think that brings comfort to lay witnesses. And by lay witnesses, I just mean people who are not used to testifying. So, not the police officers, not the investigators, not the doctors, crime scene analysts, not the people who testify on a regular basis, but people who are testifying who don't normally testify and already nervous to be there. I think it brings some comfort. So, if I ever ask a question, I'm just like, I messed up. You are right. I will rephrase it. Anyways, all that to say, I think that the questions here were asked well. I think that Robert was able to follow them. I believe there may have been a moment or two, don't kill me if I am wrong, but I think there may have been a moment or two here where there was a question that wasn't asked in a way that Robert could understand and the prosecution further clarified. I think they did a really good job, but let's get into exactly what he testified to on direct. So Robert stated that he had known Kouri for probably about a decade at this point, and the pair met while she was flipping houses in South Carolina. It's my understanding that he responded to a help wanted ad, and that's how the two connected. He said after that, and around COVID time, year 2020, he had moved to Utah because Kouri had moved to Utah, and he wanted to continue helping her flip homes. In regards to his living accommodations after he had moved to Utah, he stated that he moved to a flip that Kouri had acquired, and he stayed in this flip with his dog. In regards to the contractual obligations for the living arrangement, Robert said there was none, and he just lived in the home for free and she would give him money. He also said that Kouri bought him 2 trucks, but one of the 2 trucks was eventually given to Kouri's mother. As far as when the romanticism between he and Kouri began, Robert said it began in around 2020 when he moved to Utah. Do you guys remember the vacation we talked about earlier that Kouri was planning to take, some all-inclusive getaway to St. Martin or what have you? Robert was shown documents pertaining to that. In the document, you can see that Robert's birthday is listed as December 9th of 1982. And if you'll remember, we learned during the last video that Kouri's birthday is April 20th of 1990. And please, never let it escape your minds that Eric was murdered on March 4th of 2022. So according to the document, and as we can see, Kouri made a final payoff on March 30th of 2022 of almost $4,000. The check-in date was April 29th of 2022 with a checkout date of May 4th of 2022. The significance of this in my mind is that she was planning a trip knowing that she intended to kill her husband the month prior. What I thought was really interesting, or I guess kind of saddening, and I don't know if I should say it's sad because she's having an affair, is the fact that when asked, Robert unequivocally said that he loved Kouri, but when asked if she loved him, he vacillated quite a bit.
During that time that you were romantically involved with Miss Richins, did you love her?
Yes.
During that time, did you feel that she loved you?
Yeah. I have a tendency of going head over heels, though, probably more than most. So, I think she did.
In response to how often the pair communicated, Robert told the prosecution that the pair communicated essentially daily from the point that he moved to Utah.
Did you exchange text messages with Kouri Richins?
Yes.
From the time you moved to Utah, about how often?
Daily, unless she was mad at me or vice versa.
What topics on those messages did you discuss?
Same thing you would discuss with your best friend, plus house flipping stuff.
What was really odd, or what the prosecution got out of Robert during the direct examination, was the fact that Kouri had asked Robert if he had ever killed anyone when he served his time in Iraq. Robert also responded that Kouri had then asked him how it made him feel to have done that. When asked by the prosecution, Robert stated that he didn't really find the question out of the normal.
But
Did she ask you a question about killing?
she did ask me yeah.
What sir did she ask?
She asked if I had ever killed anybody.
And was that specific to killed anybody while serving in Iraq?
Right,
Did you respond?
I did.
Did she ask a follow-up question?
Yes.
Sir, what was that follow-up question?
She asked me how it made me feel or something along those lines. And then I answered her. I took it as not out of the normal, though, really.
Robert also testified that he and Kouri remained in a relationship for approximately 6 to 10 months following Eric's death. He said after that point, the pair had a falling out, and the romantic relationship kind of fizzled.
Did you and Kouri Richins stay romantically involved after Eric Richins' death?
Yes.
For how long?
You'd have to look at my phones to tell me that. I'm gonna guess, bless you, 6 months, maybe 8, 10. Best guess.
And then what happened?
I don't know. Just you had a falling out, disagreements. Things changed after Eric passed. I mean, I don't know what to say. Things weren't the same. So I don't know if that led to us parting ways or what, but there was a lot on both of us. You know what I mean?
Understand. Thank you, sir. I don't have any further questions.
The cross-examination here was conducted by Kouri's defense attorney, Wendy Lewis. Throughout cross-examination, I don't really think she gathered much. I don't think there was much of a sticking point, at least not for me. I think the main objective of cross-examination was for Wendy to get clarification as to the question that Robert said was posed by Kouri, i.e., did you ever kill anyone? I think that Wendy thought it was important to clarify that she meant during Robert's time in service and not just randomly. I don't know why that needed clarification at all. I mean, I think a lot of us can say we have family members or friends or otherwise know someone who has served. And I don't think I've ever asked them that question. I don't know if you guys have asked them that question. I don't want to relive your trauma. I just thank you for your service. That's it. But regardless, that's what she wanted to clarify.
Today, sitting here, when you think back on that conversation, does that conversation seem like it was a strange conversation to you?
Man, I can't tell one way from the other anymore. I've been confused for years,
This conversation was about more than just what you did in Iraq, right?
Yeah.
This conversation, was it about just life and death in general?
Yeah, it's about that. It was about lots of things. It was about the boys. It was about shooting a bow. It was about God. It was about supernatural stuff.
And at the time you were having the conversation, did it seem like a strange conversation back at the time it happened?
At the time it happened, her and I just experienced supernatural things. So no, there was nothing that was surprising at that. But the talk was not surprising.
So it was in context with things that were going on and that you were talking about at that time.
Yeah.
So all in all, let me give you my opinions on Robert as a witness. I think he came across rather credibly. I do. I think all in all, he was kind of aloof. I'm not going to lie. It seemed Like he was just there. I don't even know a better way to explain it. Just his demeanor came across really aloof to me. But regardless, I think he did a really good job. I believed him. I believed what he said. I believed his demeanor on the stand. I believed that he was telling the truth. And I thought he did a really good job. But those are just my opinions, and that's the end of this video. So please let me know anything it is you need to let me know down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Until next time, y'all take care.